I'm Emily, a 20-year-old who came into this world against all odds. My biological mother, Clara, a wealthy woman with a solid plan that initially did not include children or marriage, met my father in casual circumstances. They met at a work event, realized they had similar job types but worked in different places, and decided to start dating. Despite precautions, I became pregnant using a combination of birth control technique. My existence was unexpected, a statistical improbability that disrupted more than one life. Clara intended not to keep me when she discovered she was pregnant, but my father, who was secretly married to a woman named Linda and faced near impossible odds of having children with her, persuaded Clara to continue the pregnancy on the condition that he accept full responsibility after the birth. This deal contained a complete handoff to my father, with no parenting or visitation, only child support. Growing up, I was led to believe that I was my father's biological kid, and that Linda, his wife, was my mother. This illusion was broken when Linda gave birth to a miracle baby, a girl named Sophie, who became the apple of their eye. From my earliest memories, I knew I was a secondary consideration, a member of the family by circumstance rather than choice. As I grew older, the dynamics in our household became increasingly strained. Family events, holidays, and even casual dinners sometimes exposed my outsider position. I would be present but not included, asked to snap photos rather than appear in them, sending a subtle but unmistakable message about my position in the hierarchy. Sophie was born, and the situation only got worse. I watched from the sidelines as she gained warmth and acceptance that I had never experienced. Margaret, my biological grandma, and I met by coincidence when I was 15, which was a key year. When she discovered she had a granddaughter she was unaware of, she contacted me, and we struck up a conversation right away. She provided me with something I had not previously experienced: absolute acceptance. When I decided to move in with her, my father and Linda consented quickly, seemingly relieved to simplify their family picture. Years passed, and I started to build a life with my grandma, one in which I felt appreciated and seen. Then, suddenly, my biological mother Clara passed away, leaving me her whole fortune, worth $1 million USD, with the condition that I obtain a business degree. This legacy was more than just large. It was revolutionary. Overnight, my focus moved from college tuition and student debt to money management and estate preparation. However, just as I was adjusting to this new reality, my father and Linda reappeared, suddenly becoming very concerned about my financial situation. They argued that since they had raised me for 15 years, I should pay for Sophie's education, particularly her desire to attend an Ivy League college. This put me in a terrible situation. On the one hand, I understand their position in my life, no matter how complicated. On the other hand, Clara's inheritance feels like a final message, a gesture intended to safeguard my future while also honoring her intentions. Now I'm at a crossroads, torn between wanting to honor Clara's intentions and feeling guilty and pressured by my father and Linda. Sharing the riches may alleviate some familial tensions, but it may also feel like disrespecting the final wishes of a lady who, in her own way, attempted to make atonement for a previous decision. As I consider these options, I understand it's not just about money, it's about loyalty, identifying where my true duties are, and setting boundaries that respect both my future and my history. This is about more than just being fair. It's about remaining loyal to myself and the legacies of people who have influenced my life. For better or worse, this decision will likely influence my future relationships and sense of self as I go toward adulthood and independence. So, if I do not share the money, am I an a-hole? Now here are the top comments. The quick answer is no. You wouldn't be the *** hole if you didn't want to show it. That is your money, and let's face it, they don't deserve anything. Sure, they raised you for 15 years, but I'm very sure they would have gotten rid of you sooner, when their daughter was born. So no, you don't have to split your money with them. Now, given that you say you adore your sister, that she has never treated you differently, and that money is no longer an object for you, perhaps you could assist her while keeping your parents out of the picture. This means that if you want to help her out, you must pay for her university education. You don't pass the money to them and expect them to pay, you pay directly. And what do you think? Update 1. As you know from my previous post, I was preparing for a vital meeting with the lawyer and trustee in charge of my birth mother's inheritance. They put everything out on the table, explaining the details of her will and what it meant for me. Clara was extremely precise about the circumstances of the inheritance. I must attend business school and complete my degree before I can claim and fully control the inheritance. This aspect is critical because it effectively limits my ability to make financial decisions, particularly when it comes to sharing wealth with my father and Linda. After much thought and sound advice from all of you, I've concluded that I have no moral obligation to financially support my father and Linda. Your insights and encouragement made me realize that it is my job to respect Clara's wishes, while also considering my own future. However, the narrative thickens with Sophie. We had a serious and honest chat about what she truly desires for her future. It turns out she's completely uninterested in the Ivy League. Her passion is for the arts, and she has always wanted to attend art school. What's the problem? Linda flatly refused to support such a dream. She believes that a job in the arts is unattainable and prefers something more traditionally prestigious or lucrative. I saw Sophie's disappointment and offered her an offer. Once I finished my business degree, I'd be happy to assist and support her art school study. The offer moved her deeply, and she enthusiastically accepted it. She broke the news to our father, hoping for some understanding, if not support. Unfortunately, the reaction was quite opposite. My father and Linda were outraged. They've always imagined her pursuing a career in law or medicine, which, in their opinion, would guarantee a large salary, and as a result, a method to support them in the future. Sophie held firm and insisted on pursuing her actual love, which resulted in a tremendous blowout. Sophie realized she couldn't live in such a confined and unsupportive atmosphere any longer when the dispute became heated. She is 18, legally an adult, yet the decision to move out was significant. She had no definite plan, so I stepped in. I was not going to let her struggle on her own, or worse, wind herself homeless. She now lives with me. It's a hard adjustment to have her around all the time, yet it seems natural. I've been assisting her in getting to and from school while also working until I can complete my business school registration. It's a lot to handle, but it's worthwhile to see her more at ease and optimistic about her future. In the midst of all this, I've been thinking a lot about what family is and how to best support those you care about. It's not only about donating money or ensuring kids take the path you believe is best for them. It is about listening, comprehending, and empowering them to make decisions that are true to who they are. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment and provide advice. It has made a great difference knowing that there are people out there who care enough to express their opinions and offer support. Here's to hoping Sophie and I can build pathways that will make us happy and proud. And here's to navigating life's ups and downs with a little support from friends and a lot of personal determination. Now here are the top comments before the update. Wow, Emily, this is a huge twist. Your parents have lost their miraculous baby, and she is going to live with you. I believe it's fantastic that you want to help her out, and it serves your parents well for being so selfish. So, Emily, here's wishing you and your sister the best of luck in the future so that you can go to business school, graduate, and then assist your sister out. And goodbye to your parents. Update 2. Since my last article, my family situation has grown fairly chaotic, and a lot has transpired. I appreciate all of your advice and support. It's been quite useful in navigating this issue, so let's get into the latest installment of this drama. My dad and Linda continued to put pressure on me after my last post. They doubled down. They contacted me again, this time more insistently, demanding that I give them half of my inheritance to help Sophie with her schooling and their own financial needs. This made me really frustrated. I snapped and told them off, explaining that even if I wanted to help, the terms in Clara's will prevented me from doing so. They didn't believe it and accused me of lying, which greatly irritated me. I was fed up with the charges and decided to seek legal assistance. I met with my lawyer and the trustee for Clara's estate to go over everything in detail. They verified that my hands were actually shackled. The will clearly specified that I must complete my business degree before I can completely access and handle the bequest. Armed with this information, I contacted my father again to lay out the facts, hoping to help him grasp the issue better. Unfortunately, the conversation went south quickly. He accused me of using legal justifications to avoid assisting the family. That hurt, but I stood firm, adhering to the facts and reaffirming my commitment to respecting Clara's desires. Sophie stepped in just when I felt my entire family was against me. She called me after overhearing my talk with our father to express her support for my decision. She was quite concerned about how our parents were treating me and made it known that she disagreed with them. Knowing she was by my side was a great comfort and made me feel less alone in this situation. With all the commotion at home, I immersed myself in my studies. I officially started business school and have been enjoying it. The classes are difficult but fascinating, and they've been a welcome distraction from the family troubles. Plus, I feel more empowered knowing that I'm learning how to responsibly manage my inheritance once I graduate. The family difficulties were having an impact not just on me, but also on Sophie. She has been battling with our parents' continual pressure and criticism, particularly over her future ambitions. It's been an adjustment for her to live with me full-time, but it's been incredibly good. We've been supporting each other, which has brought us closer together. Having Sophie around has been both enjoyable and challenging. We've set up a small study room where both of us can work on our respective projects. She enjoys art, so she doodles while I study. We cook meals together and spend our evenings binge-watching series or discussing life. It's good to have her around. It feels like we're forming our own small squad. The future is uncertain. My relationship with my parents is strained. I hope they understand why I took the decisions I did and that we can find a way to work things out. But for the time being, I'm concentrating on my education, supporting Sophie, and simply trying to create a stable stable, happy life for both of us. I can't express enough how much I appreciate everyone here. Your comments and messages have been a lifeline during some extremely difficult times. I'll keep you posted on how things go with school, life, Sophie, and everything else. Here's to overcoming obstacles and making the most of what life has to offer. Thank you for taking part in my adventure. Update 3. So here I am, deep into my business school grind, juggling homework like a circus act, when my father calls me unexpectedly. I assumed he merely wanted to catch up, but boy, was I mistaken. Dad said, "Hey, we've been thinking, and we believe it's time for you to start taking on some family responsibilities." My response was, "Okay, I'm managing Clara's estate and focusing on school. What more do I need to do?" My dad, "Well, your stepmom and I are planning to buy a new house, and we think you should contribute. Actually, we expect you to cover half the cost." My jaw dropped to the floor. Half the price of a house? Just like that? I couldn't believe what I heard. My reply, "Dad, I'm a student. How do you expect me to afford that? Plus, you know I can't touch the inheritance until I finish my degree." Your dad, "That's your problem. You need to figure it out. You owe us." The call stopped there, leaving me in complete shock. The amount of entitlement was simply, wow. Still reeling from the call, I contacted my lawyer and a couple of close friends for their opinions and suggestions. Everyone agreed that was an outrageous request and informed me that I was correct to feel surprised. My lawyer certified that the will's terms were unambiguous and legally binding. I couldn't spend the money even if I wanted to. Knowing I needed to confront this head-on, I scheduled a meeting with my parents at a local coffee shop, a neutral setting where we could maybe talk things through more calmly. The conversation was hot and emotional. My response was, "I need to understand why you think it's reasonable to ask me to pay for half of your new house." My dad, "Because we raised you. It's only fair that you help us out now that you have the means." My response was, "But I literally don't have the means. The money is locked up until I graduate. Besides, that's not how families should work. You don't just raise a kid expecting payback like this. Linda, you know, you're just being selfish. After all we've done for you, this is how you repay us." We went back and forth like this for a while, but it was obvious they weren't listening. They were more concerned with what they could get out of me. After the heated coffee shop meeting, I felt I needed to set some clear boundaries. My reaction, "Look, I'm focusing on my future right now, and I will not be pressured into jeopardizing my finances by breaking the terms of my inheritance. I'm not going to pay for your house or anything else like that. I need to be responsible with this money for my own future." It was quite difficult for me to stand firm in such a situation, especially in front of relatives. They were really furious, especially my father, but I knew I had to stick to my guns for my own good. So, the situation with my parents is somewhat stressful right now. I'm not sure where things will go from here, but I'm expecting it to remain difficult for a long time. Meanwhile, I'm focusing on my education and planning for a future in which I can make my own personal and financial decisions. Thank you so much to everyone here for their support and wisdom during this. It's been quite beneficial to have a place to vent and receive comments. I will keep you all updated on any fresh developments. Fingers crossed for less drama and more peace as we move forward. Here's to being strong and making the best decisions for ourselves. Update 4. So after I stayed firm about not paying for half of their new house, I expected my parents to back down a little, but nope. They returned with an even more absurd request. I had just returned home from class when my phone rang. It was my father again. "Father, we need to talk." I sighed. "What now, Father?" "Your stepmom and I have been talking, and we think it's only fair that you give us a monthly allowance." I respond, "What? A monthly allowance? Are you serious?" My dad, "Yes. You're going to have all this money soon? It's not unreasonable for you to help out your family regularly." I was stunned. They were not backing down. Rather, they were doubling down. Completely overwhelmed, I contacted my lawyer again to explain the new requirement. She reassured me that my parents had no legal claim to any of the inheritance and that I was under no responsibility to send them money, particularly a monthly allowance. I also spoke with Sophie about it. She was as surprised and outraged as I was. She told me she couldn't believe how entitled our parents were, and she fully supported me. I planned to meet with my parents again, but this time with my lawyer as support. We met at their house, and it was obvious from the start that things would be tense. Dad, observing my lawyer, says, "Why did you bring her?" My response was, "Because I want to make sure we're all clear on what's legal and what's not." A lawyer says calmly, "Mr. and Mrs. last name, your daughter is under no legal obligation to provide you with an allowance or any other financial support. The terms of the inheritance are clear, and until she completes her degree, the money is not accessible for discretionary spending." Linda is furious. "So you're just going to leave us struggling while you sit on a fortune?" My reply, "I'm not sitting on anything. I'm following the rules set out in the will, and honestly, this constant pressure isn't helping anyone. I need to focus on my education and my future." My parents were outraged at the end of the conference, and my lawyer and I left feeling grimly satisfied. It was good to have backup, but it it was also upsetting to realize how far my parents would go for money. A few days following the encounter, things deteriorated. I was studying when Sophie sent me a series of texts. She had overheard our parents discussing hiring a lawyer to fight the will, alleging that I was unfit to handle the fortune. Sophie's reaction: "They're talking about saying you're irresponsible and not capable of handling the money. It's ridiculous." I respond: "Are you serious? They can't actually do that, can they?" Sophie's response: "I don't know, but it sounds like they're serious about it." I contacted my lawyer right away and explained the issue. She informed me that contesting the will on those grounds would be extremely difficult, especially because I am now in business school and handling my obligations effectively. However, we needed to be ready for anything. We began compiling all of the documents to demonstrate that I was following the terms of the will and managing everything responsibly. This included my academic credentials, the estate's financial documents, and even character recommendations from professors and friends. Sophie has been a constant source of strength throughout. She has been supportive, assisting me with everything from document gathering to simply being present when I needed to scream. Through this chaos, we've gotten closer, and having her by my side has been priceless. We've continued to live together, and it's been a tremendous adjustment, but also a good one. We've established a good pattern for balancing our schoolwork and taking care of ourselves. It feels like we're creating a new, stronger family unit with just the two of us. Right now, we're in a holding pattern, waiting to see if my parents follow through on their threats to contest the will. It's difficult, but I'm concentrating on my schoolwork and trying to remain as normal as possible. I've also begun to consider what life would be like once I finish my degree and have complete control of the inheritance. I want to make sure that I utilize the money carefully and in accordance with Clara's wishes. The entire experience has been a major learning curve. I've learned a lot about advocating for myself, setting boundaries, and the value of a good support system. It's been difficult, but I feel like I'm coming out stronger and more motivated to make a better life for myself and Sophie. Thank you for your ongoing support and advice. Your words have been quite helpful in navigating this crazy situation. I will keep you posted on what occurs next. Here's praying for more peace and stability in the foreseeable future. Update 5. After I told my parents I wasn't going to give them the money, they hired a lawyer to fight my inheritance. They were attempting to argue that I was incapable of handling the money and desired control over it themselves. I couldn't believe what was occurring. I spoke with my lawyer, who informed me that their case was weak, but we still needed to be prepared. We gathered all available documentation, including my educational records, financial documents, and character references from professors and friends. It was a lot of work, but I was convinced we were prepared to defend my position. The day of the court hearing arrived, and I was really frightened. My parents were there with their lawyer, and I had mine with me. The judge heard both viewpoints. My parents' lawyer attempted to portray me as an irresponsible youngster who couldn't manage money, but we had a solid case. When it was our turn, my attorney presented all of the evidence. She showed the judge my good grades, how I was responsible with the estate's funds, and even brought in a couple of my professors to testify to my maturity and dedication. After a lengthy and emotional session, the judge issued a decision. He dismissed my parents' complaint, finding that I was plainly capable of managing the bequest and that their claims had no legal basis. It was an enormous relief. My parents were upset at the judge's decision. They stormed out of the courtroom, not looking at me. It was a bittersweet victory. I was relieved when the case was dismissed, but it hurt to watch my parents act this way. A few days after the court hearing, I received an unexpected visit. It was my father, but he was alone this time. He appeared fatigued and discouraged. Dad asks, "Can we talk?" Me, wearily. "Okay, what's going on?" Dad says, "I've been doing a lot of thinking since the hearing. I realize we've been wrong by pushing you like this. It's hard for us to accept everything that's happened." Me, surprised. "You think?" he said. "I know we've put you through a lot, and I'm sorry. Your stepmom and we've been under a lot of stress, but that's no excuse for what we've done." We spoke for a long time. He explained that he and Linda were having money problems and were desperate. They saw my inheritance as a way out, but they were unaware of the suffering they were giving me. He apologized truly, and for the first time in a long time, I had the impression that he was genuine. My response was, "I appreciate you saying that, but it's going to take time to rebuild trust. You can't just expect everything to go back to normal overnight, my dad. I understand, I just hope we can start somewhere." After our conversation, I decided to hold a family meeting with both my father and Linda. It was stressful and essential. We lay everything out on the table, including our sentiments, disappointments, and future goals. Linda also apologized, and while I'm still skeptical, it felt like a step in the right direction. Sophie has been a rock for me throughout. Living together has brought us closer, and we've been able to support each other in ways we never could before. We've established a good pattern for juggling study and life. We feel like we're starting our own little family, and it's been a bright light amidst all the stress. With the legal battle behind me and a tentative ceasefire with my parents, I'm focused on the future. I'm working hard in business school, hoping to one day have complete control of my inheritance. I want to respect Clara's intentions and spend the money carefully. Maybe I should even start my own business. Just when I thought everything had settled down, I received a surprising call. It came from Clara's lawyer. He discovered some old letters and paperwork from Clara that she wanted me to have when I reached 18. He asked if he might stop by and leave them off. I was curious and consented. The lawyer arrived a few days later, carrying a box full of letters and paperwork. I spent hours reading them. Clara wrote letters about her aspirations and dreams for me, her remorse for not being in my life, and her guidance for the future. It was overwhelming, but also extremely comfortable. It felt like she was reaching out to me from the past, attempting to assist me. This entire experience has taught me a lot about resilience, limits, and the value of having a solid support system. It's been difficult, but I feel like I'm coming out stronger and more motivated to make a better life for myself and Sophie. Thank you for your continuous support and wisdom. Your encouragement has been a ray of light during some of the darkest periods. I'll keep you updated as things progress. Here's praying for future stability, peace, and happiness. For the time being, I'm taking each day as it comes. I'm concentrating on my studies, restoring trust with my family, and ensuring Sophie and I have a secure and happy existence. It's been a weird ride, but I'm looking forward to what the future brings. Thank you again for sticking with me throughout everything. Your support means everything to me, and I'll keep you updated on any new developments. Here's to brighter days ahead. Update 6. Hello everyone. It is time for what I believe will be the final update. After all of the ups and downs, twists and turns, I'm finally at a point where things are beginning to calm down and appear brighter. Here's what's happened since my last post. This will be a lengthy one, so grab some food and get comfortable. Following my father's earnest apologies, we began the long process of restoring our relationship. It was not easy, and it certainly did not happen overnight. We had a lot of meaningful chats, some disagreements, and lots of times when we felt like we were making progress, but then slid back. But with time, we began to understand each other more. My response during a conversation was, I need you to understand how hurtful it was when you and Linda tried to take my inheritance. It felt like you were valuing money over our relationship. My dad, I get that now. We were desperate and scared about our future. It doesn't excuse what we did, but I want you to know we regret it deeply. I respond, it's going to take time to rebuild trust. You can't just expect everything to go back to normal overnight. My dad, I understand. I just hope we can start somewhere. We took it slow, meeting on a regular basis to discuss and spend time together. Sometimes we'd just go for a walk or get a coffee. We would also get down and discuss our feelings and disappointments. It was difficult, but it felt like we were making significant progress. Meanwhile, Sophie and I became closer. Living together has been an excellent experience. We've established a strong schedule for balancing school, work, and leisure. We've even started a few projects together, such as renovating our flat and planning a vacation for when things calm down. Sophie, painting a wall. You know, I think we've done pretty well for ourselves, all things considered. Yeah, who knew we'd make such a good team? We transformed our flat into a warm and inviting room, complete with personalized touches that made it feel like home. We displayed some of Sophie's artwork on the walls, and I created a tiny office space where I could work on my studies. It was fantastic to build our own area. Business school has been challenging yet rewarding. I'm learning a lot and feeling more secure in handling my inheritance and planning for the future. Clara's letters have provided inspiration and guidance. She had so much wisdom and love to impart, even from a distance. One of my favorite letters was one she wrote when she first learned she was pregnant. She talked about her aspirations and dreams for me and how much she wanted me to be happy and successful in life. It made me feel more connected to her than I ever had before. A heart-to-heart with Linda. One of the most difficult obstacles was rebuilding my friendship with Linda. She had been the most demanding about the money, and it took a lot for me to even want to speak with her. We eventually had a heart-to-heart. Linda cries, I've been so wrong. I was blinded by our financial struggles and fear. I never meant to hurt you like this. My response was, I appreciate you saying that. It's going to take time, but I'm willing to try and move past this if you are. Linda said, I understand. I just want us to be a family again. We began meeting for coffee and talking about everyday topics, gradually restoring our friendship. It wasn't always easy, but it was satisfying to be making progress. We discussed our concerns and frustrations, and gradually we began to understand each other better. With the court battles and familial drama behind me, I'm moving forward. I'm concentrating on getting my degree and then gaining complete control of my fortune. I've begun writing a business plan for a company I want to launch based on my interests and Clara's legacy. I've been meeting with mentors and advisors to seek their feedback on my company ideas. It's been fascinating to think about the future and what I can accomplish. I believe I'm on the right track, and I intend to make the most of this opportunity. Just when I thought I'd figured everything out, I got another surprise. Clara's lawyer discovered a journal she kept during her pregnancy. Reading about her thoughts and feelings made me feel even closer to her. It was like having a chat with Mum, hearing about her goals, anxieties, and dreams for me. One entry that stuck out was when she mentioned being terrified and unsure about being a mother, but also really hopeful and eager about the future. It made me realize how much Mum cared for me before I was born. My grandmother Margaret's help has been a big relief. It's comforting to know that I'm not alone. With her support, I am even more driven to complete my degree and take control of my future. For the time being, I'm taking each day as it comes. I'm concentrating on my studies, restoring trust with my family, and ensuring Sophie and I have a secure and happy existence. It's been a weird ride, but I'm looking forward to what the future brings. This entire experience has taught me a lot about resilience, limits, and the value of having a solid support system. It has not been easy, but I feel stronger and better prepared for what comes next. I appreciate the community's support. You all have been a lifeline through some of the most difficult moments. Your unfailing support and counsel, as well as your encouragement, have served as a guiding light during some of the darkest periods. I'll keep you updated as things progress. Here's praying for future stability, peace, and happiness. Thank you again for sticking with me throughout everything. Your support means everything to me, and I'll keep you updated on any new developments. Here's to brighter days ahead.